I've been reading now for over 5 years. So in this video, I'm going to give you 2 books that I think that are absolutely mandatory for you to read. Now you may be asking, why aren't you giving me 5, 10, 15, 20 books? And the reason why is because you get overwhelmed with all these books and it's just like, which ones do I read first? And it's like, that's why I'm only gonna give you 2 books, because these are the books that are absolutely the most, they impacted my life the absolute most, and I'll explain to you why in this video. So number 1 is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I'll never forget reading this book for the first time. See, this is exactly what happens when you read these types of books. You never forget where you are and what point in your life you are at this point in time. So I was just graduating college at this time. It was 2020, 5 years ago. And it was in the fall of 2020. And I read this book at the library. I always knew it was a good book you should read, but I didn't realize like how amazing it was until I actually read it. So in this book, Tony Robbins basically explains that human beings do things either for pain or pleasure. So for example, I'm gonna go to the gym later, and that's gonna be painful, but I'm doing it for a reason, so I can get strong. Like, you go to work, you do that to make money. People go to the bars and they party, they do that for fun. So keep in mind, this book made me realize that every single thing that you do in life, you're either doing work or fun. Those 2 things right there. And that's what this book made me realize. And that's why it has the most profound impact on my life. Because if you just analyze anything you do, you go to the gym, that's work. Some people may say it's fun, but you're bettering your health and your fitness, so technically it's considered work, even though some would consider it a hobby. But moving on, you go to work to make money. Whatever you do for work, that's work, obviously. Let's say you go hang out with friends, that's fun. You go to the bars and party, that's fun. Video games, fun. Drugs, fun. Smoking weed, fun. Alcohol, fun. Watching TV, fun, unless it's a documentary or something you can learn from, like a nonfiction, like reading books, work. Cold showers, work. Dressing very professionally, work. It's like basically what I did was I came up with a whole list of things that are all considered work, and a whole list of things that are all considered fun. Because Tony Robbins in this book, Awaken the Giant Within, made me realize that every single thing that we do as human beings, we're either doing it for work and like for money or that purpose, or we're doing it for fun. We're not doing it, and we don't just randomly do things as human beings. There's always a motive behind why we do what we do, and this is what Tony Robbins explained in this book, and is by far one of the best books I've ever read. By far, actually, the best book I have ever read. The second book I'm about to list after this is the second best book, but this is by far the best book I've ever read. I've read now for over 5 years. I've been reading. Reading books has definitely changed my life. YouTube videos can help, but what I've noticed is that when you just sit down with a book, this is coming from me as a YouTuber putting out videos for you to watch. I'm telling you that books are better. It's like when you can just sit down with a book and just focus on that book and not focus on anything other than the book. Put your phone across the room. Has the best impact on your life. Like by far, you can just zone in. And like I said, this is a mandatory read. Like I would not be the same person I am if I didn't read this book. Just because it makes me think of life differently. Like I said, it makes me analyze my decisions, because basically your life is a result of your decisions and your habits. So, and like I said, everything you do is either work or fun. And Tony Robbins explains that. So every single thing and action you take, every decision you make, it's either work or fun. So like this literally determines your life. It determines the quality of your life. It determines your friends. It determines how much money you make. It determines how healthy and fit you are, how jacked you are. It determines everything in your life of what you're doing, what specific actions you're taking every single day. And that is exactly why this is the #1 book of all time, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. You have to read this book. Number 2 is Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Then again, I remember exactly where I was at this time reading this book. And this was at the time I was reading tons and tons of books, and wow, this one had an extreme impact. So basically in this book, Brian Tracy outlines the 3 most important areas of life: health and fitness, career and finances, and relationships. Those are the 3 most important areas of life. And why this is so important, because it actually does connect a little bit to Tony Robbins. The first thing I was explaining to you in Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins was that everything you do is for work or for fun. This is very, very similar to that in a way that you're either eating food that's healthy and fit, or you're going to be unhealthy. Either you're making money or you're not making money, or you have good quality relationships with people you love, or you don't have those relationships at all. So realizing that basically this book made me realize that the 3 most important areas of life are health and fitness, money, and relationships. And that's just basically that realization kind of just made my mind realize, oh, okay, this makes sense. Also, it just basically helps you realize what you should be doing. Okay, well, these are the 3 most important areas of life. So every single day, I should probably be doing all 3 of these things. For real. Because this is exactly how I basically implement my days now is health and fitness, money, relationships. You want all 3 of those things in every single day, because that's basically what gives you a quality day of just the best life possible. And that's exactly what I want, and I'm sure that's exactly what you want. So when you realize that these are the 3 most important areas of life, like I said, you can basically plan and organize your day so that, okay, we have time for the gym, we have time to make money, we have time for relationships, and we can kind of split these up, because I'm overanalyzing all this stuff. So, if you sleep 8 hours a day, that means you have 16 hours left. So ideally, the gym only takes an hour, 2 hours max. So you subtract that, that's 14 hours. So you work for a majority of that time, I would say at least 12 to 14 hours. And then you have 2 to 3 hours or so for relationships, for family. You don't need that much time for relationships, because there's only so much you can talk about and so much you can do. At the end of the day, if you're a man, you gotta work. So there's only so much we can talk about. What are we talking about here? We need to start making some money. We need to start working, because work is really what the main motive of life. If you're not working, then what are you actually doing with your time, with your life, with your energy? As a man, if you're a woman, it's not as important, because a woman's value is basically how beautiful she is and how much personality as well. Don't get me twisted there, but the initial thing, if a man sees a woman's beautiful, that's the most important thing at all. Personality comes obviously as well. You want to match personalities together, but another thing reading books has done for me is just basically, I'm basically like a psychologist. I read a lot of books, so I can just kind of tell with certain people. You can read certain people, you can judge them, and kind of what their motives are and what kind of person they are. Just by reading a lot of books, you can just kind of tell, because you get in the author's mind. Whoever writes the book, you get in that author's mind to know what they're thinking at certain situations. I did this, and I did this, and I did this. Basically, they're telling stories and stuff like that. And you can just know where their head is and what decisions they're making at a certain time in their life. So you know, because I read a lot of autobiographies. So, you know, I don't read much from like authors, quote unquote. I just read from autobiographies about people's lives or nonfiction books, how to become better, how to become more successful, etc. But these are the two of the books right here. Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins and Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. These are by far the best 2 books I've ever read. Like I said, I'm only giving you 2 books because if you got 20 books, you probably won't even read 5 of them, guaranteed. So I give you 2 books. Read these 2 books. Come back to this video. Comment in the comment section. Let me know how you think of these books. And we can give more book recommendations after that, because you know everyone goes in a different avenue. But like these 2 books here are basically they work for everyone, because like I said, they basically cover your whole life. So whether you're into fitness, whether you want to be a cop, whether you're a doctor, nurse, whatever avenue you're, like these books cover your whole life. So that's why I wanted to cover them and give you these books. So that's the video I have for you. If you like this video, like the video, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.